If you have a child that's going into grade 1 and you are either considering homeschooling and you're not really sure where to begin, or you might be already using curriculum and you're not all that happy with it, or just are curious what other curriculums for grade 1 are out there, stick around and I'm going to show you what we are going to be using this coming fall with my daughter as she begins her grade 1 school journey. So I did several different phonics programs with her to get her up to a point. And last year I did try this book with her in the early last year at the beginning of the year, but she found it quite dry and wasn't interested in doing it. And so that's when I picked up The Good and the Beautifuls, reading phonics, their booster set, the booster cards, and their little books that came in a box set. Book A and B we had gone through. And after that, she was ready to move on to this book. Now, this is called The Ordinary Parent's Guide to Teaching Reading by Jessie Weiss and Sarah Buffington, and it's published by The Well-Trained Mind. Now, this book is meant to start from the very, very beginning, the early phonics stage. It's quite a thick book, and it takes you all the way up to a level 3 or a grade 3 reader, that stage. And what they say is that once you finish this book, you can then move on to reading books. Your child can just go ahead and just start reading on their own, maybe still slowly, maybe still needing some help, but you don't have to teach phonics beyond this book. So this is supposed to be an all-encompassing thing. Now, I did do this with my older daughter, and she flew through it because she was already reading quite fluently by the age of 4 and 5. And by the time she started grade 1, she was already reading like Charlotte's Web on her own. My daughter we are starting this book this year, but we're going to continue on it through grade 1. And it is an entirely scripted book where you are asking them to repeat sounds after you. For example, the very beginning, you're telling them the names of the vowels and their sounds, and you're going through different short A sounds and long A sounds and all the sounds like that, all the way up to the point where we are now. We are doing beginning blend sounds. So yesterday we worked on the BR, BR, KR, DR, GR, all those sounds, and then you're sounding out the endings of the words. I can kind of give you a quick glance at what that looks like. And each lesson is 1 or 2 pages long, and you're just reading through this script as you progress through the book, and it will take you eventually all the way up to a level 3 or grade 3 reading level, and they are then able to move on independently. I've loved this. Like I said, my daughter, when she was about 4, found it a bit dry and boring. She needed something a bit more flashy and exciting, but then when she was eager, so she wasn't an excited, eager to learn reader, but once she got excited about learning how to read and saw that she could read, I found that The Good and the Beautifuls reading program did get her to the point where she was really interested in reading. And we then moved to this book because it is a bit more thorough, or quite a bit. It's very thorough. It progresses through every single part of phonics that you can ever hear of. And it really covers it well and explains it all well, and it's very thorough. So it's an all-in-one, very thorough reading program where you really don't have to use anything else. So we're going to continue through this in the next year. We'll probably finish it this year, but it is meant to be taken all the way up to even grade 3 if needed. So we'll see where this goes, but we are going to be using this for 2024-2025 for grade 1. The next is, now, in a Charlotte Mason program, they do not start a child in grammar, in formal grammar, until grade 4. I feel like starting at grade 4 feels like a bit of a late start, so I'm really interested in starting her in grammar in grade 1. So we use first language lessons. Now, if you saw my previous video, I talked about, these are all my top favorite grammar, language arts books and curriculum out there, and I plan to continue using them. The Alviary does suggest other things, but because I know that these have worked, I'm just gonna stick. At first I thought I would do everything Alviary and see how it goes, but I know these things work. I know my kids are successful when I used them, and so I'm going to continue using them. So first language lessons is by the Well-Trained Mind, and it's written by Jessie Wise, and it is an excellent grammar program. It's focused on grammar. However, there is also some copy work and dictation throughout it, and there's also poetry memorization. Now, for grade 1, here's a caveat for grade 1, the level 1, first language lessons level 1. It doesn't necessarily have to be started at grade 1, but it's the first language lessons level 1. It is meant to be oral. So they will not be, like in other levels, they won't be doing a whole lot of writing. It's a scripted lesson, as the reading one that I had just showed you, the Ordinary Parent's Guide to Reading. Let me just show you here what a lesson will look like. It's an entirely scripted lesson where you will say to your child, for example, in lesson 3, you will read to them the definition of a noun. You will say, a noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. Then you're going to say to them, try to say as much of it with me as you can, and we'll say it slowly 3 times, and you'll say it together. And you're going to reference back to this several times so that I tell you by the end of this program, and I believe there's 100 lessons, by the end, your student will most likely be able to rhyme off to you all the definitions of all the parts of speech. They are going to be learning about nouns, verbs, so proper nouns, common nouns, verbs. What else is going on in here? There's so many pronouns. They're going to be learning how to do some narration, poetry memorization, punctuation, abbreviations, so many different things. So it takes them through a lot and gives them a really good foundation to begin grammar. It's easy. The lessons for us have not taken more than 10 minutes. You're just going through it. You're not stopping and fixating on something because it reviews it so much. So if in the first lesson your student isn't able to say the definition of a noun back to you, by the time you get through a few more lessons, they will be. So you just follow the script, you get through it, and when you're done, there's a ton of review, and it's excellent. And some people will complain that it's dry and boring, it lacks the colors, and people want to have work pages, but a child's hand in grade 1 is not fully developed, and so doing a lot of writing, it's best to avoid it. It's best to avoid as much handwriting as possible, other than in penmanship, of course. So this is what we'll be using for grammar for grade 1 in 2024-2025. So this essentially is a lot like doing narration, Charlotte Mason's method of narration. This is called Writing with Ease, and it's by Susan Weiss Bauer and Peter Buffington. And this is published through the Well-Trained Mind. And what this does is you are reading to your child different passages from classical pieces of literature in each lesson. And so each one is broken down differently. So part of it is reading a passage from literature, but then you are going to be teaching them how to formulate a narration by asking them guided questions that are pulling and teasing out all the most important facts and parts of the passage that you read. And at the end, after you ask them all the guiding questions, you're then going to ask them, give me 1 or maybe 2 sentences. What's the one thing that you remember from this passage? And you're wanting to teach them how to say it back to you in full sentences. That's one thing that all of her curriculum really specify is from the beginning, even in first language lessons, you are asking for full sentences. And if they aren't able to give you a full sentence, you are going to give them a full sentence, or if they give you a fragmented sentence, you're going to correct it and show them what a complete full sentence looks like. And eventually by the end of the program, you are going to see how they are able to structure excellent narrations in complete, properly grammatically correct sentences. So Writing with Ease, you read a passage from a classical piece of literature, you have guiding questions, and then you're getting them to narrate or summarize back what they recall from the passage. You are then going to be doing some copy work, And copy work just helps them to see well-formed sentences, what they should look like with proper punctuation and grammar, with capitalization and all those things. The writing with these does do dictation in the later years, but they are not doing it yet in grade 1, because dictation is a skill that will require them to understand other things like spelling and things like that, which would be a higher level expectation. So this is excellent. It's going to help my daughter learn how to, she's already been doing narrations, but I'm excited to, one thing that Charlotte Mason doesn't do is she doesn't want you to correct them. She doesn't want you to say, well, that wasn't really the best summary or narration. Let me help you structure that a little better. And I have learned over this past year that my older daughter is excellent at narrating because we have used programs like Writing with Ease, whereas my younger daughter is struggling a little bit, only because I have tried to sit back and just let her give her narrations the way she wants to, without correcting and showing her what a good structured sentence should sound like or look like. And the well-trained mind really believes that you need to model for your children the best writing, the best narrations, the best works, so that they can copy it. And eventually, in the logic and rhetoric stages of their education, they will learn how to do that on their own independently without the modeling. So I'm loving this, and I'm going to be doing this for grade 1 for 2024 and 2025. And then for spelling, I wasn't sure if I was going to do spelling, but I did it with my older daughter, and she is an excellent speller. So I've decided with my younger daughter, as I flipped through this is Spelling Workout A. It's a very simple spelling program. I did talk about it in my previous video as well. I'm going to see how it works with my daughter. But if I find that she needs a little more structure, a little more spelling rules, I may try something else out. But it's she's already a fairly good speller already as it is. She already likes to figure out how to spell things on her own. She likes to write letters, draw pictures, and write things on it. And she tries to figure out how to spell it on her own. And she's usually pretty good, pretty accurate when she sounds it all out. Of course, some words aren't spelled the way they are phonetically sounded out. So this one starts off with, the very beginning, the basics, all the letters. And it's going to move on to, I'll just move on to very simple words that she already actually can spell. So when I looked through it, I realized she can do these: bus, tub, bat, see, sit, us. She actually already knows how to spell these words. So we will fly through this one, I believe. Later on, they get a little bit more tricky. So near the end, asked, looked, needed, fixed. But as they do these work pages, they're going to see how they should be correctly spelled. And then it's about really kind of memorizing them and learning how to spell them and seeing patterns in spelling rules and things like that. So this is what we are going to be using for grade 1 for spelling for 2024, 2025. Now, that's all I have here. I will be using a penmanship program as well. Now, in the past, we've always used The Good and the Beautiful. The Alvieri does recommend something else. I'm looking through the two of them and comparing. So I can come back here and make a video and show you what we'll be doing for penmanship once I've decided. But for now, I wanted to give you the rest of the parts of language arts for the coming year to give you some ideas of what you might also like. You may find that your children are also interested in grammar and writing and reading and all of those things. And so if they are eager to learn, I really suggest pushing a little more, expecting a little more from them. Some programs are a bit more relaxed and gentle approach and letting them lead, but some students, and this might not be yours, but mine are like that if they are challenged with something a little bit harder, a little bit more, they really stand up to the challenge and want to try to do their best and do it. And I've found with my kids so far that it's really worked, and they are quite advanced because of it. So I'm really happy with these language arts for grade 1. I'm excited, and I will update you and let you know how the year is going this coming fall as we get into the program. But that's all I have for you. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.